As much as I love cooking, I'm actually a very mediocre cook. But that's also why I love making these videos, because it shows that even someone who's pretty bad at cooking can still easily prepare healthy meals. With that said, I'm always looking to improve my skills. It's commonly believed that how a chef handles a simple egg dish can be a good indicator of his or her skills. So I decided to challenge myself to learn a new egg dish, something that I've never tried before: tamagoyaki. Tamagoyaki is a Japanese egg omelette made by rolling several layers of cooked egg together. When looking up recipes and videos, I marveled at how the masters of tamagoyaki manipulated their pans and chopsticks and flipped their way to ridiculously good-looking tamagoyaki. I want to do that. In the end, I decided on following a recipe shared by Serious Eats, where a Japanese sushi chef taught a home-style tamagoyaki. And so the challenge begins. I'll be making tamagoyaki every day for 7 days to see what kind of improvements I can make along the way. To make tamagoyaki, I will need a tamagoyaki egg pan, a pair of chopsticks, although a spatula would work too, but I wanted to make it the traditional way: paper towel dipped in oil, soy sauce, mirin, some homemade dashi that I prepared beforehand, and of course, eggs. If you're interested in giving tamagoyaki a go, you can click on the link in the description below for the full recipe that I'm trying. And here we go, my first attempt at making tamagoyaki. It wasn't long before I messed something up. My oiled paper felt too dry, and I should have used more oil to make my life easier. Tamagoyaki is also called the Japanese rolled omelette, and the rolling, or in some cases flipping, is probably the trickiest part of making tamagoyaki, which would be very evident throughout the course of this video. In my first attempt, the lack of oil, poor heat control, and my horrendous flipping skills combined and resulted in slightly burnt eggs. And to make matters worse, once I started realizing the horror that my eggs were becoming, I started panicking, and it all just went downhill from there. The husband, who is behind the camera, is totally enjoying the show and literally laughing out loud at my struggles. The only saving grace from day one is that the tamagoyaki actually tasted pretty good. It's neither too sweet nor salty and has a nice light flavor from the dashi, which suits our taste buds. Hopefully day 2 will turn out better, except that it didn't. Afraid that my eggs would burn, this time I used too low a heat. The whole thing was a disaster. In hindsight, day 3 was a pretty good day of learning. I started getting the hang of how much heat to use, and I even managed to get a few good flips, even if it's just one successful attempt out of maybe 5 flips. But in typical tripping before the finish line fashion, I totally freaked out on my last flip and ended up making scrambled eggs instead. At this point of time, I was thinking that at this rate, this video is not going to be watchable. I had to practice harder, so I'll be making more than one tamagoyaki per day from now. The main problem I faced in day 4 was the flipping of the eggs. It was the single biggest factor that was ruining my tamagoyaki. In my third attempt for the day, I experimented with rolling instead of flipping the eggs once they are a little bit more cooked. And the result was a nicer looking tamagoyaki. But on the inside, it was a little too dry and overcooked, so simply rolling wasn't going to do the trick. There was not much to write home about on day 5. Some flips felt smoother, but the tamagoyaki still looked awful, and the texture was way below par as well. Day 6 was kind of a breakthrough day for me. After learning from past 5 days of experience, I started to feel like it was all coming together. All 3 attempts today went by pretty smoothly, except the last one where I failed to ration enough eggs for the last flip. But although the eggs looked nicer on the outside, the insides were still a little too overcooked for my liking. Finally, we've reached the last day of the challenge. I know it sounds silly, but I was actually feeling quite nervous because I was really hoping that I could make the best tamagoyaki that I've made so far, to have something to show for the 7 days of practice. I made a total of 3 tamagoyakis on the final day, and I would say that they're all pretty decent by my standards. They all looked somewhat presentable on the outside, and although the insides were still not as soft as I would have liked, I must say that I'm still pretty pleased with my improvement. Tamagoyaki may be a simple egg dish, but over the past 7 days, I think many of the skills that I've picked up can be easily carried over to other aspects of cooking. Learning to control the heat, the handling of a delicate ingredient, and most importantly for myself, staying calm and adapting when things don't go according to plan. My tamagoyaki definitely needs more work, and I will no doubt revisit it in the future. But for now, no more tamagoyaki. We have been eating so much tamagoyaki that the flavor won't leave our mouths. How did I do in this challenge? Let me know in the comments.
Hello, you've come to the end of the video. If you like the video at all, please don't hesitate to hit the like button. That would mean a lot to us. And remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our future videos. Goodbye.